Hello everybody, welcome to the Source Hotel here in wonderful Denver City in Colorado. We've just spent the last, 9 hours or so riding the brand new Ducati XDiavel V4. Now, everyone will know that the XDiavel comes very closely direct from the Diavel V4, which we rode a couple of years ago. Link up there if you want to go check that out. We went to the world launch in Dubai, it was, and we actually went riding in Oman, funnily enough, which was just unreal. So that was really cool. So we've been waiting on the revamped version of the XDiavel for a couple of years now. This bike is effectively made for America, effectively. Ducati is saying around 50% or so of the sales are expected to come from the United States. France also is going to contribute, hopefully, a few sales, a few from Italy here and there, and a couple in Germany and that kind of stuff. But really, this bike has been designed and made for the American market. Now, it's not what in America, I guess, what we would consider to be your traditional cruiser. I mean, it's not really a cruiser, really. It's kind of like a muscle car bike, I don't know. It's its own thing. It doesn't have any rivals that I can think of. I mean, maybe the Rocket 3 Triumph, but I mean, in terms of performance, this thing just walks on it. This bike has a superbike derived motor in that V4. It's the Gran Turismo motor in this thing. This is not the same motor that you're going to get in something like your Panigale V4, but look, they're all cut from the same cloth, effectively, from way back in 2018 when the first Panigale came out. Okay, let's start talking price. $28,995 for the burning red colorway and $29,295 for the gorgeous black lava colorway. That is a very pretty penny, shall we say. Not quite as high as what you're going to get in something like a Harley-Davidson CVO, for example, but I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me that they are pretty different customers. You know, the guy who's coming after an XDiavel has probably had his fair share of time on super sport and super bikes and things like that, and wants to have something that's a little bit more cruisy, but still wants to have 168 horsepower, which is what this bike has on tap. You actually get 3 riding modes or 3 power modes, and you get 168 for the high mode, 168 for the mid mode, which has a smoother throttle response, and 115 for your wet modes. Inside all that as well, you've got 4 different riding modes, sport, urban, rain and touring. And you've got your variable traction modes, your power launch, your wheelie control, all the good stuff that you would expect, cornering ABS, all the stuff that you would expect from Ducati. So none of the stuff that, as far as the electronics, should be news to anyone. I mean, that stuff comes out now on pretty much all their high-end bikes, and this is absolutely one of their highest end motorcycles. When you're underway with that 168 horsepower motor, I mean, you've got to be a fairly hard person to not be impressed by that. That thing is a rocket when it gets up in the revs. It's really, really good fun once you're in 5, 6, 7,000 RPM, and it sounds awesome. It's such a great sounding motor. It's a guttural, like, roar of a thing. Just before I go on, as you probably can see with this motorcycle, this is not the one that I rode, by the way. This is a very accessorized bike. That exhaust down there is not a street homologated exhaust. I can't even turn it on for you, which is really bloody annoying because it must sound unreal. It's a race exhaust. I don't even know how much it costs. This bike's got a couple other things on your screen and carbon fiber bits and pieces here and there, but it's got a very important thing which we'll talk about in a minute. When we were out riding, so we rode up to the Stanley Hotel, and now if you've got a little bit of a bone in your body that likes movies, you'll remember the Red Room from The Shining. That's where The Shining was filmed, along with a whole bunch of other films.
Red Room. Red Room.
We had a really, really good ride up through the mountains and up through the hills through there. It was really, really good fun. A couple of things stood out with this motor. Once it's up and going, it's really, really good. You know, 5, 6, 7,000 RPM, you've got power for days, and just off you go. It's great fun. But it is still a Ducati sports bike motor, and by that, I mean, if you are cruising around at low RPM, it really doesn't like it. There's a very abrupt throttle response from closed throttle at low RPM, so especially running through traffic, things like that. Also, the clutch has a really abrupt, once you let the clutch out, it's really abrupt and when it lets the drive in, and it's really annoying. I've got to say I feel like they really could have done a little bit better in terms of metering out that drive. Now, part of me thinks that, because you get a double whammy with that, right? You get the kind of harsh throttle, that clunk on the throttle, and you get the clunk on the clutch. So part of it is mechanical, part of it is electronic, part of it is emissions. So, I mean, we all know the bikes are suffering seriously now from emissions. That basically in turn translates to rough throttle response off lower ends of the rev range. It actually happens a little bit higher up in the rev range too. It has a little bit of a clunky throttle. When you're in wet mode, it's not as bad. The higher up you go, so you go touring, urban, and once you get into sport, it can be really abrupt. I am not qualified to tell you exactly what it is. I have a sneaking suspicion, right? It might have something to do with the length of the bloody chain. I mean, look at that chain is enormous. It's like that big, you know, so there's a lot of distance for the drive to travel to get to that big 240 section rear tire. Again, I'm not a mechanical engineer, so I can't tell you exactly for sure. I can only tell you what it feels like, but it is really annoying when that happens. So I think you could get rid of the throttle problem, especially if you throw this exhaust on there and you get the thing tuned, but I'm not too sure about the clutch. That's going to have to be something you're going to have to work on a little bit if you decide to pick one of these things up. Right, now to my favorite part of today's ride. I started out on the XDiavel with the forward mount controls. Let's go and have a look at that right now. Bing, here we go. This is the black lava, and this is very touring accessorized, as you can tell. Different seat, panniers, screen, you know, a whole lot. So don't pay too much attention to it because I didn't ride this bike at all, but I'll show you the ride position. All right. Okay, so these are the standard mount controls that you're going to get. It does give you, even there I can feel it, it gives you that curvature in your back, and this seat's actually better than the other one, than the standard one, which I'll show you in a tick. It gives you that kind of curvature which puts a lot of pressure on your spine, at least for me, because I've got a really crook lower back. I asked the boys at Ducati if they could give us the mid-mount controls. Let's go back to the other bike. Bing, back to this one. 30.3 inches is the seat height, by the way. You can get an accessorized seat, which gives you an extra inch. I got these things. These are the mid-mount controls, and let me tell you, I found this thing so much more comfortable. It takes the majority of the weight off the tailbone, off my coccyx, which for me, like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves with cruiser bikes. I can't stand these seats, and I'll show you. I hate these seats, these curvature kind of seats, because it forces, at least for me, it forces the bottom of your spine to curve under, and God, Jesus, it's bloody annoying after a while. I mean, I had 45 minutes on this thing and I was like, I can't ride this anymore. So they put the mid-mount controls on it, and it was 70% better, I've got to say. So thank you, Ducati, for doing that for me, because then it proved that it wasn't just that's what you get. That's going to cost you $300 more if you want to get the mid-mount controls. What would have been lovely is if I could have got the tallest seat and those mid-mount controls, and I think we would have been absolutely dialed. The best part about having the mid-mount controls for me was that I could get my weight over the front a little bit more, which put a bit more weight on the front tire and allowed it to steer a little bit better. When you're stuck back like that and your feet are like kind of forced out like that, it doesn't put a lot of weight on that front tire. So it doesn't steer as precisely as what I would like. So I guess that comes back to my love of naked bikes and sport bikes and things like that. Like, I like that front tire feel, and that fixed a lot of the problems. Not all of them, but a lot of the problems. Also, while we're on ergonomics, 0.8 inches lower and 0.6 inches closer to the rider are the handlebars. Now, Ducati is also going to give you accessorized handlebars. They are not available just yet, as it is right now at the end of June in 2025, but soon enough those things will become available. They're probably going to be a little bit lower and a bit more racier, a bit more upright. So it's just something to bear in mind, but the actual controls themselves, they are really nicely, I'll show you again, very, very comfortable. Like, especially when you get like there, you can get over the front, happy days, or you can sit back and you can go almost choppery, cruisy style. So that's good. However, now, This is some stuff that I've got to tell you that I don't like about this bike. This bike costs 30,000 bucks once you start throwing in all the bits and pieces. I mean, this is what, 28.9, 29.2 for the other one. So once you start throwing dealer fees and all that other stuff in there, it is going to be well over 30 grand. A $30,000 motorcycle like this, and it does not come with heated hand grips as standard. That is not good enough. It does not come with a remote preload adjuster. That isn't good enough. What else? It doesn't come with radar adaptive cruise control. That's not good enough. This bike does not come with electronic suspension. That's a bit of a bummer. I'm sorry, but if you're buying a $30,000 motorcycle, there are bikes out there that cost a third of what this bike does, and it comes with all that stuff. And a bunch of bikes in Ducati's range that are far less expensive than this that come with this stuff. So I'm going to get on my high horse here and say, like, if you're buying a 30 grand bike, you should have that stuff thrown in, especially heated hand grips. I mean, come on, guys. And a remote preload adjuster. I can handle electronic suspension and all that stuff and the radar cruise control and whatnot. I can deal with that. But if you've got a bike here that is designed to take two people, you know, this seat now, this is 50% larger seat for the passenger. So if you've got a bike that's designed to take two people, you're going to be changing preloads and things real easily. You don't want to have to bloody get under there and change, you know, on the collar. It should just be ding, 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 done. So that's my pet peeve of the XDiavel. I've just got to say. Look, it is a stunning motorcycle. When you look at these things, I mean, the silhouette of them, they are gorgeous. Like, it is, the build quality on them is spectacular. That rear wheel, like, that's sexy, that rear wheel. There are a couple of things that didn't quite live up to expectation. I would have liked, you know, a bit more sort of finesse in the throttle. The engine itself is just remarkable. I've always loved the V4s in every format, whether they're in a multi-strider enduro, whether they're in a Panigale V4, a Street Fighter V4, whatever. I love them all. I think it's just one of the best engines that anybody has ever made, really, for the last 20 or so years. It's so adaptable. It's such a great engine. But they've got to fix a couple of different things. So anyway, something to be aware of. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Please give us your comments down below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Do the like, share, subscribe stuff, all that good stuff if you can, please. And I will see you again soon. Keep a rubber side down. Cheers. Bye.